you mentioned Athlone finished second. They were in that shake-up for that league title position. They would have had to do it through a playoff if results had gone their way. They did their bit at the weekend. They had a comfortable win, but it wasn't to be for them, with Shells winning the game down in Wexford. And joining us to chat about the season so far and potentially the best finish and the best Christmas present they could get going into the end of season break would be a cup final victory on Sunday. And Jessica Hennessy joins us now. Jessica, you're very, very welcome to the program.
Hello, thanks very much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a phenomenal journey watching Athlone from the outside, so I can only imagine how exciting it's been inside the camp for the last 8-9 months.
Yeah, look, it's been great. Like, I've enjoyed every minute. I know all the girls have as well. And I just think, as a group, we've really gotten close. And to be fair, Tommy has that bond with us as well. And no, look, it's been great. Like, and we're kind of sad that it's finishing now, but hopefully we get the cup. But if we don't, we're still proud of how much we've accomplished this season. So yeah.
What would you have set out as your targets at the start of the season? Everybody says, we want to finish as high as possible, but considering where you had been the last 2 seasons, what was the targets?
So first of all, Tommy was saying that we went on a good cup run, and luckily we did do that. And then more of our goals would be take points off the top teams, and we did that as well. And just most home games to win, and less like teams score against us, more clean sheets. So yeah, look, we've accomplished that, and Cumsey was brilliant in goals for us this year as well. And obviously Emily Corbett was on fire. So yeah, we were lucky that we had those two.
You talk about Emily Corbett on fire, but Madison Gibson is no slouch in front of goals either. She went on a fine run of form there for a couple of games, so she just couldn't seem to stop scoring.
Yeah, Maddie's a brilliant player. Like, I've opposition against her, I wouldn't want to be them, but yeah, she's unreal. She knows where the net is as well.
Interesting enough, Breifne, she said on RTE that she plans to be around next year as well, which is even more scary for the other clubs. And like, what's it like in training? You've got these players come up against them. You've been able to play a consistent team pretty much throughout the season with only 1 or 2 changes here or there. What's it been like in that sense? Because a lot of teams you see in mix and match where Athlone haven't had to do that.
Yeah, I know. One of our starters, Fiona Owens, she done her ACL, and she was a big loss for a while, and they're putting players in and trying to find someone to cover for her. But to be honest, Fiona is a massive loss for us, and hopefully she'll be back as soon as possible. But yeah, as you said, like, we did have a normal like starting team, but still training was so competitive. Like, everyone is fighting for a spot, and Tommy makes sure that there is 2 for every position, so it does keep training high intensity and competitive. But yeah, like, it is good that you do have the normal like starters and like Aaron and Laurie that will drive the team on as well. So in those scenarios, it is good.
Both those girls you mentioned, of course, in playing at a fairly high level in Gaelic football as well. Even Murren currently involved in a campaign. I know it ended at the weekend with her club in the Connacht Club Championship, featured with Leitrim this season. Laurie was involved with Clare as well. How hard is it to keep that unity within the squad when players are distracted? I know even Roisin Malloy played a bit with Sligo for a period as well. So that's been a feature of the Athlone side that we don't necessarily see in other clubs. So how does it work for Athlone when it doesn't for other clubs?
I think Tommy, to be fair, is very open-minded about playing Gaelic. The girls never miss a training, they never miss a game. So I think everyone, like, on their team, like me, I don't mind them playing Gaelic at all. Just because, like, they don't miss training, so they're doing nothing wrong in my eyes, if that makes any sense. But yeah, we haven't had any trouble or like problems with it. I know Laurie's missing her, I think it's a Munster final or something on Sunday. That's unfortunate for her, but other than that, I don't think there's ever really been a problem with it at all or anything like that. So we're lucky in that scenario, like.
Yeah, I heard that today about the Munster ladies football final. But in terms of the squad itself, when did you start to believe that you could challenge for a league title and you could push yourself all the way through to get to a cup final?
I think when we bet Peamount at home that time, I think it was 1-0 or something. After that, I think everyone was like, Jesus, like, we're able for this now. Because like last season we finished 7th, and it was our second season in the league. But like now this is our third season, and we're kind of said to ourselves like we're not newcomers anymore, and like 7th isn't really good enough for us. So everyone did work hard and like put in the session. So yeah, I think the Piedmont game was really just when we were like, God, like we really should go for this. That was a big result for us. That was the first time we ever came close to Piedmont, to be honest. But yeah, I think it was that game that we really like put our heads down after that and said we could actually go for this.
Well, you make that seem like it's an easy thing to go from 7th to 2nd in the table. Like, we've been talking on this show for the last year and a half, whether it was Aaron or with Steph before that, or whoever happened to be with us on the show, that like DLR might make that breakthrough, Galway might make that breakthrough, and they've been hovering fourth or fifth for the last couple of years. But then all of a sudden, Athlone, who, I'll be honest, none of us expected it, just came and never faded. We always kind of expected, this is going to be the week where they get beaten by Wexford or beaten by Shells or beaten by Piedmont, and then you come back with the 3 points, and we'd be like going, oh, bit of humble pie for me. I'm enjoying the taste of humble pie this season. It's been really refreshing. But it's worked for Athlone. What's been that secret sauce that really has driven you on that other teams haven't quite been able to do on a consistent basis?
I just think Tommy's found a system that suits us down to the ground. Like, we've Roisin Malloy, that an absolute worker horse. Like, she is just up and down the wing. Maddie Gibson, like Gillian, Emily. I just think we found a system that suits us, and like it just works for us basically. I think the more we started to win, the more belief we had. Because like obviously in other years we'd be like wouldn't really be getting the results that we wanted, and our heads would drop. But I think even in like the Sligo game where we were, I think it was 0-0 to like the last few minutes, and Gillian got a goal. Like those type of games, if it was last season, we would just be like, oh look, we'll do a draw, we'll be fine. But I think this season we really did push ourselves, and we just said like a draw isn't really good enough, that we need to win. So I think that's really what happened. Like we just decided really.
I think, Breifne, I've stopped writing them off since the time that I said there was a potential cup upset, and Tommy caught me at the Shelbourne game. I was like, never again. And there's been a couple of times where I've come in and made some bold predictions here about them winning some games. But it's been great to watch them. And like, what do you say to people who say at times maybe the football isn't always pretty? But in this sort of league, it's not about at times being always pretty. It's just about getting results.
Yeah, exactly. Like so our football might not be that pretty, but look, we're getting the results that we need. I know every team plays different, like during they play differently. We just like to get the ball up as quick as possible, and just the pace we have up front. Why wouldn't you want the ball up that quick? So yeah, really, like I know we probably should be playing more football, but just at this time, however we're playing now is just suiting us down to the ground. So there's no point really changing anything yet.
I've just had a little look back to the league table since Athlone came into the league. Prior to this season, they'd won 7 league games across 2 years, and this year it's 17. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's a lesson for what can be done. And I think in terms of what looking from the outside in, from an Athlone point of view, it seems that the core of the team have stayed solid and have been consistently involved in that team since year one. So there hasn't been a massive turnover. We do see big turnovers in other squads, players in, players out. Other than maybe a handful of players, the core of the team have been pretty much consistent since day one. And I think that's probably part of that. Or maybe I'm completely missing the mark here.
No, I agree with that. We do still have the core, like Katie Shine, Melissa O'Kane, Emily Corbett. They've all came through that zone ranks, so they would be like a core of players. Like we haven't really had that many players coming out. I know Coombsy's been there from the start. I've been there from the start. I haven't really been playing, but I was injured and all. But yeah, like we do have that core, and that did benefit us. And Tommy has been there from the start as well, and the lads have been as well. So I think all that has come together, and finally we're getting the results. And yeah, look, we're just delighted with how the season went anyways, and I think just everyone around us is proud, and Athlone are like looking forward to the cup final. So yeah, look, we're just delighted with how the season is going and the core players we have.
I know you'll say it's a different competition, but what do you take out of the 3 games you've had with Shelbourne this year? You won 1, lost 1, and draw 1. What do you take out of them?
Well, the draw for me isn't a great game, but
I didn't want to say that.
We'll move on swiftly. I know, look, these things happen in football. Like, it's not going to lie, it did knock my confidence, and it did knock me a bit. But look, Tommy was very good to me at that time, and when I came into training the next session, he came and talked to me straight away, and that did make me feel better. Like, I thought I let the whole team down. I thought it was the end of the world, but no, look, I appreciate Tommy talking to me that time, and it really did help me out. But yeah, like I think we bet them 2-0. We did play fierce well that day. But look, anything can happen on the day. Like, that's what all the lads are telling us. Like, even they deservedly bet us the first time. We just weren't up for it at all. I think that was one of our first games, if I can remember properly. And they were out. Like, they were very, very good that day. I think they did give us a bit of a shock after that game. But yeah, look, anything can happen on the day, and we're just hoping for the best, to be honest.
Don't forget, you got player of the match when you played them the second time after the penalty and when you beat them. Don't forget that.
Shells, of course, league champions last year, league champions this year, run very close by yourselves and a couple of other teams, to be fair. The gap seems to have closed maybe in terms of where they were, where the top sides have been over the last few years, and you've managed to bridge that really comfortably. You go into this cup final. I think if you looked at it on paper, given the history of the two teams, people would look at Athlone and go, well, they're odds on to win this. But I think realistically, you go into this probably as evens to take the title home and take the cup home. How scary is that, given where you would have started the season? Because nobody would have had you level to win a game against Shells in the cup final at the end of the season. Then. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But to be honest, I think being underdogs would suit us better. Like, I know everyone's saying, oh, it'd be a close game and all, but like, realistically, everyone knows Shelburne more than Athlone. Like, Shelburne have, like, they won back-to-back leagues, and that introduced them. That's a hard thing to do. So they are well-established team and club. So yeah, look, going into the final, like, it's going to be tough, but we've confidence. Like everyone says, like, we don't fear anyone. We respect everyone. Shelburne are a great team, but we'll be going in nothing to lose. So yeah, look, we're just really looking forward to it.
Has having games on television in the build-up to the cup final helped?
Yeah, it has, to be fair. Like, well, as Tommy and the lads were saying to us, like, all of our games are on LOI TV, so it's nothing really changed. I know it's on national TV and all that, but we just have to think about it's the same game. It's another game that we need to win.
Yeah, it's a big weekend for the club, and I suppose it's going to be enjoyable. And maybe, as you mentioned, that disappointment with the drawing game against Shells, it's another opportunity to maybe get that little bit of a revenge on them. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute cracker. Listen, Jessica, thanks for joining us. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show. Best luck to you and your teammates ahead of your first ever senior cup final. It has a nice little sound to it.
Very exciting. Thanks many for having me.